Several people on primitive archery had asked about how to work these lumpy, bumpy U staves, so I thought I'd share a little bit of info. And Missile Master and Dell had both made a comment about measuring. And of course, when we're working a bow, we want a gradual taper from the fade area down towards the tips. And one of the easiest ways to do that is using thumb and index finger and just running it down the bow. And you can feel, even with the waves and the dips and dives, you can feel the thickness changes. Often with these real lumpy, bumpy staves like this, you will have where the bump actually lays off to one side of the bow instead of the other. And basically what you want to do is make certain that that belly follows what the bow is doing. If it's high on one side, the belly on that side should follow the back of the bow going up on there. So I'm going to work this one a little bit. I had it on the tree, and I know a few areas where I was a little bit stiff through some of these flat areas, and I'll show you how I do that. Often in these lumpy, bumpy staves, what's causing the bumps are these little clusters of pin knots. And people often ask, won't that weaken the bow or will it break there? Pin knots rarely present a problem in you. The biggest problem they present is probably scraping across them. You can sand them down. You can sand them with a belt sander or a little palm sander and work those dishes out if it's a problem of scraping it. But I'll show you here just a little bit. You can literally scrape right across them, and if it is chattering or grabbing too much, just let off and use a sander to sand out those spots. The other thing that makes it a breeze for working staves like this is the Stave Master, and I can, with all these bumps and knots, I can position this wherever I want so that I'm not clamping and crushing wood cells on the back of the bow. That's critical on bows like this. If you start clamping down and putting pressure on these bumps, you'll crush wood cells. So having that gap in there and having the soft pads to where it'll hold it and yet not crush the cells. I'm going to work a few spots right in through here that I had. The other thing is with these types of U-bows, I tend to like a squashed oval profile. If I have enough width, it's somewhat of a cross between an ELB or a flat bow. It's not really a true flat bow, but the limb profile is more of a real squashed U. And you'll notice I tend to round the edges, and here again with the Stave Master, it's easy to clamp this right on the edge. In any angle or position that I want to, scrape this down. But you'll see how I roll those edges over just a little bit. And this is critical where I want to do this before I get real close to my weight so that I'm not losing the weight and coming in underweight while I'm working it. If I keep the edges on there and I don't have these edges worked down as I'm going along tillering, when I go to soften these edges later on, then my bow would come in too light. I know I'm fairly heavy on this bow right now, so I'm just working some areas that I saw that were a little bit stiff, and hopefully that'll help you with how to work these type of staves.